Okay, the most important thing that everybody should know about airgun scopes is a parallax setting. The reason being because typically people that shoot air guns, both high and low velocity, like to shoot closer ranges sometimes. So let's take this standard 4x32 scope here. This is by Beeman. This is non-adjustable magnification and not adjustable objective. So what you get with this scope is you get a 4 power with a 32 bell and a parallax setting of about 35 yards. What that means is that this scope's peak performance, as far as clarity, when you look through here, is 35 yards. You're going to get a clear picture. But anything before that, you're going to get fuzz that gets worse the closer you get. For instance, this 4x32 here, I can manage to shoot half-inch dots at 15 yards and still kind of make out, what I'm shooting at. The old saying is you can't shoot what you can't see. So I found that half-inch dots I can do pretty good at. Once I get down to quarter-inch dots, I find I need more power than a 4x32 scope. Now, if you're a hunter, none of this really matters because let's say you're at 25 yards and you got a squirrel which is this big. It's not going to really matter a whole lot. But I have found that a 4x32, I can make out a 1-inch black dot target at 25 yards fairly well. But anything smaller than that, I have trouble, seeing the target. So this is your typical 4x32. This is what they put on your air rifles just to get you started. The reason why they do this is because this is what the minimum standard is for a hunting rifle to hit a 1-inch target at 25 yards. So this is a bare factory standard minimum that they give you for a scope as a 4x32. So keep that in mind, and I'm going to get back to this one here because I want to compare this one with another one. There's some people that don't understand sometimes about magnification. This one here also has about a 35-yard parallax. But the difference between this one and the last one that we've seen is this one's got adjustable magnification. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean adjustable objective. It just means that you can magnify the target bigger than what it is. But there's a catch. You have to be at certain distances to match the magnification. For instance, when I'm shooting half-inch dots, I found that I have to set it on 4 to shoot half-inch dots at 15 yards. The reason why is because of the parallax. So even though it's a 3-9x32, it's no better than the 4x32, just the standard scope. So once again, if somebody says, why can't you just magnify your target? You can, but you're not going to get a clear picture. It's already fuzzy from the start. Both of these are slightly fuzzy at 15 yards because the parallax setting is out there. So it's out to 35 yards. So anyway, that's what I want to tell people. If you're shooting within 25 yards, a 3-9x32, you'll get extra magnification for a smaller target. So it might help, at 25 yards. But if you're shooting in closer, if you're shooting like indoors or something or closer, 4x32 compared to 3-9x32 at 15 yards is virtually equal when it comes to 15 yards. So where this one excels at is when you get out further. The further you go out, the more it'll let you crank the magnification up. But the closer you get, the more it wants you to crank down the magnification because of its parallax. Now I'm going to show you some great airgun scopes here that are better than these. These ones are okay. They get you started, but they're not really for a wide range of shooting for air gunners. Actually, most air guns should at least have a 10-yard parallax. Here's a Hawk scope. These ones go for about $70. Now this one here is a 2x7, but get this, it's a 7-yard parallax. What does that mean? That means that at 70 yards, I can crank this up to its highest magnification, which is 7. Not to be confused with the parallax. That is not the parallax. That's the magnification. Parallax is something different. So I can crank this up to 7, look in my scope at 7 yards, and have a perfectly crystal clear picture on this scope right here. And these go for about $70. They're excellent scopes. I love them. And I think that, once again, that all air guns should be at least 10 yards parallax. This one is 7, so it gets you in even a little closer. Now, the 7 magnification is even better at 15 yards than half-inch dots. You can actually go after quarter-inch dots with 7 power magnification if the parallax is closer than the 15-yard mark, like I was saying. This has got 7 yards parallax. So 15-yard target, that's a quarter inch, is no problem. Where if I go to the 3 to 9 by 32, which you notice has 2 more magnification, it's really not going to help because of the parallax settings 35 yards. So I have to drop this down to 4, which means that the 2 to 7 by 32 is more powerful than the 3 to 9 by 32, unless we bring this out further distance. Once again, parallax 7 yards, parallax 35 yards. So you get it? So that's why this one here is the scope you guys should be getting, is because it's got a wide range of usages. And who doesn't want a clear picture? I think everybody does. Now, for dropping magnification, the only time you need to drop your magnification right here is if you want a wider view of your target. And this usually occurs when you have a moving target, like when you're hunting. You want to drop that down lower here. Or if you're in a combat situation at 25, 50 yards on an AR rifle, you might want to have a lower power setting so that you can see movement and stuff in a combat situation, where you're closer. So this magnification for this scope, the type of shooting that I'm doing, where I'm not hunting or anything at the moment, you can leave it cranked up on 7 all the time, no matter where you are, even if you're close range. So once you get closer than 7 yards, the same thing applies with this one. You would have to back it down a little bit to see your target clearly. But since I shoot further than 7 yards most of the time, I have no problem with keeping my high magnification on this one. So 7-yard parallax with this Hawk scope, they go for about $70. Very, very worth it, I think, in my opinion. The next one is really going for it for the parallax settings. This one here is a bug buster. This one's got a 3-yard parallax. What this means is that you can keep it on 9. Once again, if you're not hunting and you're just shooting targets that are standing still, you can leave it on 9 all the time. But get this, you can shoot a fly off the end of your toe, and you can see the fly's wings and all the details and the eyes and stuff like that, because it's got that 3-yard parallax on it. So this one here is a good scope for low velocity air rifles, because you have so much of a drop in a low velocity air rifle. And also it's good for Daisy 880s, because you might want to just use like one single pump, for like close range indoor shooting or something like that. So that 3-yard parallax really gives you an advantage of never, ever, ever having to worry again about messing with your magnification here to try to adjust it so that you can see clearly, because you're always going to see clearly. You got 3 yards here, and if you want to crank it up, you can go 5 yards all the way up to infinity. So this is a universal scope, which allows you to use this thing almost kind of like some people have said, it's almost like a microscope, and I have to agree, because of what you see at 3 yards is amazing, how big the target is. Granted, you'd never have to shoot anything at 3 yards. They give you that option. So it's a great scope. This one also is 3 to 9 by 32. These scopes, this Bug Buster and this Hawk, both are mil-dot reticle. So this one here is about 70 This one here is about $100. Now, if you're online and you're looking at a $50 scope, that's like this, and you're looking and it says parallax 35, 50, 100 mil dot, don't let that impress you. Because once again, if you're going to be shooting some close range targets, you want to stay away from that 35-yard parallax. That's really something you don't need. You know, if you got kids or something, you're going to train somebody how to shoot at very, very close range. This bug buster or that hawk scope is great because you can set the parallax down to 3 yards or 6 yards or whatever, and somebody's going to look through that scope and they're going to see what they're shooting. So this one, by the way, can go after 1/4-inch dots at 15 yards also. So that's what's good about this one. Now, the one I didn't show you here that I don't have, it's on my Daisy 953. That one is my BSA 6-24 by 42. That one's got a 10-yard parallax on it. So that scope is wonderful because, once again, you can have the highest magnification as long as you're within the parallax of that scope. So if I'm at 10 yards, I can have 24 magnification on my BSA scope if I want. Now, here's the thing. People are talking about, well, what about parallax error? Parallax error, the simplest way to get out of a parallax error is when you're looking through your scope. On both sides of your scope, you'll see shades of black when you're looking at the reticle. Them are kind of like warnings to tell you that your eye isn't in the right position. And also, over magnification is a problem, which causes parallax error. So what you want to do is you want to drop the magnification down to a reasonable level. You don't always have to have a full 24 magnification like I have on my BSA when you're shooting at 15 yards. You can drop it down to 10 or 12. Because the more you crank up the magnification, you can actually over magnify a smaller target. And if you over magnify something, then you're more likely to get your eye, side to side somewhere where that reticle isn't going to be true center, because when you move your eye here, the reticle moves this way. Your eye here, the reticle moves this way, so you're all over the place. So you want your eye right in the center where the reticle is, and you want to look for the shades of black around the edge of the scope when you're looking through the scope. And that'll help you know when the parallax error is coming. Otherwise, like I was suggesting, I would drop down the magnification. Start with 1 magnification, like go to 8, and then go to 7. Let's picture this as a 24 scope, 24 power. You'd start out at 24, and you notice that you may have an issue with parallax error, and your eye just isn't being center like it should. You're not doing it the right way. Just keep dropping down your magnification until your groups get a little bit better. So there are times when actually, believe it or not, that you'll get better groups on less magnification than more. So that's one thing I found out with myself. But hope you appreciate watching this scope video. If you have any questions or anything, I've played around with, lots of scopes with different parallax settings. You can ask me about them if you want. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video.